first fight was a professional fight. I fought none other than Mike Pyle, who went on to fight in the UFC and had a pretty decent dang career. He was pretty tough. I had no idea what I was doing for that fight. I flew out to Vegas by myself, had no corner, had no cup. I had a terrible mouthpiece. I went out there and fought him. I had no corner. So this guy, Amir, cornered me. He let me borrow his cup. He let me keep it afterwards too. And then Holt McClary, the guy in the Iron Claw movie, that guy, the actor, he was in my corner. And it was weird because Fight Club was big at the time. You guys remember Fight Club? That was like a thing we watched all the time. It partly got me into fighting. But yeah, that's him. You see him right there. It's him in the Fight Club. He's one of the guys. He was in that Mindhunter show also. This guy cornered me from my very first fight. That was surreal. So I showed up. I didn't have a corner. This guy, Amir, one of Bas Rutten's fighters. He was originally the guy I was supposed to fight first, but something fell through, and that didn't happen. I ended up fighting Mike Pyle, and then Amir cornered me. I also met Brian Ebersol out at that fight. And Brian, after that fight, became my first regular training partner and makeshift manager, because he took me to where the fights were. He knew where the fights were and where the promoters were. So we went out and drove to cool places. But went out, first fight in Vegas. I fought in Stardust Hotel with, who was it? Donkashane. Is that guy? Was that him? Wayne Newton? I think it was Wayne Newton performed there. Donkashane. Oh, darling, Donkashane, right? Yeah, I went out there, didn't know what I was doing. And I got into under position on him pretty quickly. But tried to throw him, fell to my back, turned over, hooks in, choke. Done at 235. After that, 2 weeks later, we drove out to Iowa and I paid $90 to take part in the Extreme Challenge 48. It was supposed to be a 8-man tournament, but only 3 of us showed up. Ebersol had fought for Monty Cox before. He'd been that way before. He had something lined up, or his teammate had something lined up. I don't think Brian fought, but his teammate fought Tim Sylvia in the main event. I ended up fighting this Mark Smolinski first, beat him up pretty good. It was second round, I choked him. You know, you could punch and knee, kick, do everything you wanted to on your feet, but once you hit the ground, it was all open hand and no elbows. Slight changed the rules, made it amateur. Then I fought this Ben Euchre kid, and Ben Euchre was Monty Cox guy. Ebersol had told me early on, because he reached out to Monty Cox about me possibly training over there, and he's like, oh, he's got too many welterweights. Well, this was one of his welterweights. I ended up beating him. They say TKO injury, but I was beating him up the majority of the fight. But that was my first 3 fights. So I went pro. I lost. I made $500, and then I paid $90 to fight twice in one night. Finished both guys in the second round, and went on to the next fight, which was